We live in an increasingly interconnected world in which every seemingly minor action can exert significant effects on the lives of others. For example, the personal liberty to play loud music may encroach on a neighbor's right to quiet rest, while the right of a factory to engage in production may conflict with the community's entitlement to unpolluted air. This raises the fundamental question: where does the sphere of individual rights properly end, and where do the rights of others begin? "14 centuries ago, Islam articulated the succinct yet comprehensive legal and ethical maxim comprising merely four words. Four words that provides an integrated framework for addressing such dilemmas. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "La darar wa la dirar." This principle is not only merely a piece of moral advice, yet it constitutes one of the Prophet's most encompassing pronouncements and serves as a fundamental principle within Islamic law, Sharia. Let us break it down to understand its brilliance. La darar, no harming. This part prohibits the initial infliction of harm. In other words, no individual is permitted to engage in conduct that causes injury to another, even when acting within the bounds of their own property or absent any malicious intent. For example, if a person seeks to install a window in their home to improve ventilation, but such a window would intrude upon its neighbor's privacy, the individual's rights to ventilation is subordinated to the neighbor's rights to privacy. Although the harm in this instance may be unintended, it remains incumbent that it be prevented or remedied. Wala dirar, and no reciprocating harm. This part articulates an even deeper ethical injunction. It forbids responding to harm with harm or intentionally inflicting injury on others. Thus, if a neighbor causes injury or inconvenience, one is not entitled to retaliate in kind, for such conduct would only perpetuate and intensify wrongdoing. Instead, the aggrieved party must seek lawful and legitimate means to eliminate the harm. Moreover, this principle extends to prescribe any action undertaken with the intention of harming others, even when the act appears on its surface to be otherwise permissible. This golden maximum has countless implications, from the simplest matters to the most complex. In social relations, it prohibits backbiting, slander, and spying, as these inflict psychological and social harm. In economics, it prohibits monopoly, fraud, and interest, since these practices cause financial harm to society. In environment, it prohibits polluting air and water or cutting down trees without benefit, as such actions damage shared resources. In public health, it prohibits all that harms people's health and obliges anyone with a contagious disease to avoid contact with healthy individuals, so as to prevent reciprocating harm, dirar. This principle of la darar, la dirar is the foundation of a responsible society. It achieves a careful, calibrated balance between individual liberty and collective welfare of a community. It achieves a fully calibrated balance between individual liberty and collective welfare of the community. It underscores that personal freedom is never absolute. It is circumscribed by the moral obligation to avoid causing harm to others. Though expressed in strikingly concise terms, its meaning is profoundly far-reaching, and when conscientiously applied, possesses the capacity to foster a secure and genuinely civilized society. Can you see how a single ethical principle can regulate the life of an entire society? Let us discuss this wisdom further.
Salam Center for Advocacy and Dialogue.